What's up, guys? What's going on? I'm Paul. This is Pauling Theology. I'm back. We're going through the book of James. We are in James chapter 2, 14 through 18, and we're talking about how to live out wisdom today. We're in the wisdom book of the New Testament, James, as we've talked about, and there's three things that he goes over. And today, one of those things that we're going to be studying is wisdom. And we're on that famous verse, faith without works is dead. So let's dive in, see what it has to say, and see how we take it in context, what it's saying, guys. So if you haven't read 2, 14 through 18, go ahead, stop the tape right here, check it out, read it, come back. If you have, let's go and dive deep, guys. So what is James saying? Literally, what are the words that James has said to us? Well, it says, what good is it, man, if a person says that they have faith without works, man? He's like, is that faith able to save him? And then he gives an example. So first, he says, faith without works. Is it able to save him? That's the question. The example he gives, he says, if you see a brother or sister among you, man, that needs something, and then you go to him and you're like, hey, be full, be full, be warmed, man, be okay, you're good, everything's gravy, you know what I'm saying? He says, is that actually helping him? He's like, what good is it if a person, a brother or sister has need of food or drink, is hungry, or needs clothes to cover themselves, and then you just tell them that it's okay, everything's going to work out? What good does that do to him? And then he says also after that, he says, so that is the same way faith is. It says, if you say you have faith, but you don't do anything, he says that faith is dead. So there's two things that we can get from this, man, when we're reading what he's saying. First, he's saying, obviously, faith without works is dead. He's saying that if you don't have faith, if you're not doing it, if your faith is not producing action, then it's not real faith. That faith doesn't save. If your faith doesn't produce in you action. And that kind of makes sense, right? Because saving faith does what? It changes people. Saving faith produces an inward change in a person. Paul talks about it oftentimes when he says that, what's it say? A new creation has come, man. The old has passed away, the new has come, man. It says the old man is gone, the new man has come. So, I mean, if you really think about it, faith without works is dead because true faith produces works. But I think the second thing he's talking about is, I believe this is probably most likely a real world situation, and the fact that you got brothers and sisters coming up to people asking for food and help, but then they don't give them anything. And they just say, may God fill you. May God make you warm. See, the term here where it says be filled and be warmed could be understood as a, excuse me, I'm sorry. Oh yeah, it could be understood as a divine passive, it meaning that God is the one to be able to do this for them. And I think James here is saying that practically as brothers and sisters, we are the hands and the feet of Jesus to provide for those people. Okay. So when he's saying this, be filled or be warmed, those are divine passives saying that God is to be able to do that for them. But James says that this isn't how it works. It's that we as the people of God need to be helping to feed and to clothe people in need. And it really just bounces off of what he talked about earlier when he said true religion. If you're really following God, you're keeping yourself unstained from the world, but you are helping orphans and widows in their distress. I think those are the two things he's trying to point out. But what is this statement? What does this word say about God? Well, first off, it says that God cares about those in need, and he puts us in the midst of them to help them. Okay. So God cares about the needs of humans and puts us, the people of God, in the midst of them to help them. And then second, I think it's saying that God desires for action in our faith, that we live out our faith. What's this say about man is that we should show how we believe by how we live. If you truly believe something, then you'll live it out. I used to oftentimes use an example of abortion, and I say, because you ask people, you're like, hey, do you believe in abortion? and somebody's like, no, I don't believe in it, man. That's horrible. That's wrong. Well, it's like, no, abortion is real. It happens every day. So your belief in it doesn't impact the fact that it's a reality in the world. But when we say believe, we ask, are you aligning your life and the way you live, the actions that you do, to what you think about that particular subject? And so, in the same way, that faith is not saying, oh, do you really believe in God? Well, it doesn't matter if you believe in him or not, because he's real. But what we're asking is, are you lining your life in a way that is demonstrating that belief that you have? And so that's what I think that man is being called to do right now, as James is saying. And then finally, I think the application is this. The application is, first off, that we do live by faith, that we live our lives out in faith. But I think it's good to remember, first off, that true faith produces action, because it's not us who does it, but the Holy Spirit that's in us. But then secondly, it's us also walking to do those things. I've been reading in Second Peter with a buddy doing another podcast, and in that, I'm sorry, not Second Peter, First Peter, and in that he says, man, what we should do is arm our minds to follow Christ. This is like set apart Christ as holy in our minds. And so I think that's what we should be doing right here when it says live out our faith. Set apart Christ as holy in our lives, and therefore we'll live according to that which he's called us to. I appreciate you guys for listening, and I will see you in the next episode.